It's 8 o'clock.
Good morning. This is Northern Light for Thursday, July 27th. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe.
There's a growing network of public hiking trails on private land in the eastern Adirondacks. The Champlain Area Trails Network has provided public access to private property through its hiking paths.
Many of the towns and communities didn't really get very many economic benefits from outdoor recreation. And also people living here had to travel a distance to really hike on trails. And so people came together and said, well, let's see how we can fix that.
Also, this summer's heat waves and smoky air are putting increased stress on New York's power grid. And we'll reminisce about people and memories of Canton with a Vermont woman who's back for her 50th high school graduation.
There is a lot to feel. And I was, to be perfectly honest, I was a little overwhelmed this morning just walking around. Again, not sad, but maybe a little.
All of that and more is coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us.
Broadcast of Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio is supported by Gray & Gray & Associates CPAs, an accounting and financial services firm in northern New York with offices in Canton, Potsdam, and Spring Hill, Florida. GrayCPAS.com and AdirondackExplorer.com and AdirondackAlmanac.com, presenting daily updated news on public policy, environmental issues, and local communities in the Adirondack Park.
This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe. The state's power grid operator says there's enough juice to fuel demand right now, but a recent report warns that that supply might run short in the New York City area in 2 years. Karen DeWitt has more.
The New York Independent System Operator, or NYSO, has been issuing quarterly assessments of the state's power reliability since 2019. That's when New York enacted its Climate Action Plan, aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions linked to climate change. Kevin Lanahan, who runs NYSO's government relations, says the most recent report issued in July finds that without a faster build-out of the power grid, New York City will have a deficit as large as 446 megawatts in 2 years. That's the amount of power needed to run around 500,000 homes.
The system has become strained in the sense of being able to deliver the megawatts across that part of the service territory under certain conditions.
The warnings are limited to New York City right now, but Lanahan says upstate is also at risk. Several major manufacturing projects have been announced recently, including Micron in central New York, and they will require large amounts of energy. And he says the models that the independent system operators have been running are for normal summers. They have not yet taken into account extreme heat waves or prolonged periods of smoky air from wildfires. The unhealthy air from Canadian wildfires this summer has driven more people indoors, and they're likely to increase their use of electric appliances like computers, televisions, and air conditioning. That puts a greater drain on the grid. In addition, solar panels used to generate green-sourced energy work less efficiently in the hazy air.
The solar gets interrupted with the smoke, and we rely on that solar to shave peaks.
Lanahan says a confluence of factors are causing the shortage, including the decision to shut down older, dirtier power plants. They were used to boost energy output during peak demand periods. There's also changing consumer habits. A growing number of people are switching to electric or hybrid cars, which need charging, and more people are buying all-electric heating and cooling systems like heat pumps. Also, more people are returning to cities to work post-pandemic. But Lanahan says alternative sources of energy to replace fossil fuel services are not coming online quickly enough to meet that demand. Offshore wind projects in Long Island Sound will not be completed until 2028 at the earliest and could take until 2030 to be fully operational. He says that's not enough if the state wants to reach the goals stated in its climate action plan of net zero emissions by 2050.
We need to develop more renewable resources, and we need to keep a careful watch and eye on this balance between demand and supply through the transition, because if we create this imbalance, then we're going to risk outages.
He says there are some hopeful developments. The Champlain-Hudson Power Express pipeline is scheduled to bring hydropower from Hydro-Quebec to downstate by mid-2026. Lanahan says New Yorkers can do their part, too. He says even raising the temperature of the air conditioning by 1 or 2 degrees can make a difference. In Albany, I'm Karen DeWitt.
The city of Burlington has activated a temporary above-ground sewer pipe to keep untreated wastewater out of the Winooski River, which flows into Lake Champlain. On July 12th, the wastewater pipe that runs underneath the river to a treatment plant broke. It's believed the heavy rains that caused severe flooding across Vermont also broke the pipe. As a result, untreated sewage was flowing into the Winooski River for almost 2 weeks. Department of Public Works Director Chapin Spencer told city councilors on Monday that the focus has been on reducing and rerouting the sewage flows and repairing the original pipe.
We started pumping and hauling sewage from above the break to North Plant starting a day after the break occurred, and started the temporary bypass work to construct a 1 mile long plastic pipe from above the break to North Plant the following day.
Spencer said the estimated cost for that work totals more than $750,000. The temporary pipe went online Tuesday morning. A DPW spokesperson says things are going as expected, though extreme rain events will be a test for the pipe. The plan for the original pipe is to conduct more dye testing to help determine the size and location of the break. Divers cannot investigate until flow and visibility conditions are safe.
The mayor of Sackett's Harbor is back on the ballot for re-election in November, according to WWNY-TV. Jefferson County Democratic Committee Chair Shannon Burke objected to petitions collected and filed by Mayor Alex Morja. The County Board of Elections invalidated the signatures, taking Morja off the ballot. But WWNY-TV reports that he felt the objections were filed incorrectly, so he took the matter to court and won. Morja's name is back on the ballot for mayor. He'll face Democrat Mark Pasilio in the election.
And a Canton man who faces prison time for shooting his ex-fiancée in the neck last year is considered a fugitive. The St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Office is looking for 34-year-old Sean G. Sheridan. According to the Watertown Daily Times, Sheridan shot Katrina Pierce in March 2022. She survived the shooting. Sheridan was originally charged with first-degree assault and second-degree criminal possession of a weapon. He pled guilty in May to first-degree attempted assault. He did not show up to court last week, but was sentenced anyway to 12 and a half years in prison. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is asked to contact the sheriff's office.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8 minutes past 8. Good morning. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll join a Vermont woman for her return to Canton for her 50th high school reunion. That conversation in just a few minutes right here on Northern Light.
Music by Peggy Lynn and Dan Duggan. You'll find more of their music on our website, They're part of the Underscore Project. Check it out, ncpr.org/underscore. Dan and Peggy will be giving a concert next Wednesday night, August 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Big Moose Chapel. Join Dan Duggan and Peggy Lynn, the Big Moose Chapel, Wednesday, August 2nd, 7 p.m. Northern Light is supported by St. Lawrence Health, offering MyCare, a way for patients to access health information and stay connected to their care team. Registration is available at stlawrencehealthsystem.org. And by Renew Architecture and Design, offering custom design services from the St. Lawrence River Valley to the Adirondacks. More at renewarchitecture.com.
There are about 2,000 miles of hiking trails in the Adirondacks, but many of those trails are concentrated in the High Peaks region. One nonprofit in the Champlain Valley has been building their own public trail network almost entirely on private property. Emily Russell brings us this story about the Champlain area trails.
It's a sticky summer day in the town of Essex in the Champlain Valley. Colin Powers is scraping away at rocks and dirt. He's from Wadhams and is helping build a new trail on South Boquet Mountain. He picks up a stone twice the size of a bowling ball.
I'm going to try and set this stone down in a couple different ways and see which way it wants to be in the ground. Like, where does it just naturally, sort of fit?
Powers is volunteering for the Champlain Area Trails. It's a nonprofit based in Westport. The group has pieced together about 80 miles of hiking paths here. Many of them are on private property. Kathleen Holtzman is also here volunteering, raking part of the new trail through the woods. Holtzman is from New York City, but spends summers in the Champlain Valley.
I use the trails all the time, and I just love the organization. I love what they do. My first one was the Quarry Trail. I've worked on trails in Lewis. I enjoy it, and it's great to then hike the trail that you made. It's really fun.
And the Champlain Area Trails is working on expanding even more, which Colin Powers says is clear around the region.
One of the astonishing things is just how many trailhead signs you see today. Driving around this area, you can't help but run into another one.
Including a new one just 10 miles up the road in Willsboro.
My name's Chris Marin. I'm the executive director for Champlain Area Trails, and I want to thank all of you for coming here on the grand opening of the Long Pond Trail.
About 30 people are here for the inaugural hike of this trail. There's a basket of muffins in the back of Marin's truck, and folks are passing around bug spray.
Here we go, everybody. We can start walking.
The trail to Long Pond skirts past a lush green bog, crosses over a dirt road before going deeper into the woods. The Champlain Valley is just 30 minutes from the Adirondack High Peaks, but Marin says that's never really boosted business here. That reality sparked an idea back in 2006.
Many of the towns and communities didn't really get very many economic benefits from outdoor recreation. And also people living here had to travel a distance to really hike on trails. And so people came together and said, well, let's see how we can fix that.
These kinds of public trail networks on private land are pretty common around the U.S., from the Kingdom Trails in Vermont to the Zumwalt Prairie Preserve in Oregon. There's no way to know exactly how many of them there are. They're all slightly different. To establish a trail network like this, people have to come together and agree. It contributes to the greater public good.
We wanted to welcome everybody who wanted to experience the outdoors and nature.
That's Bill Harbison. He hosts one of the Champlain Area Trails on his private property in Willsboro.
We also thought that people deserved to be able to walk into the woods and not be burdened with signs that say forbidden or private property.
Some local landowners near these trails also say they see a benefit. Andrew Stokes owns a place on Long Pond in Willsboro. He says he was happy to see a 49-acre plot of land preserved for a new trail.
I think development is certainly encroaching on the area, and the wooded acreage across of our property has been at risk for development. And the kind of solidification of this trails network helps to ensure that it stays wild for many decades to come.
Of course, there are some folks who would rather see the land developed or used for something else. But Paul Gagnon says trails that cross private property offer a unique perspective. Gagnon is with the North Country Trail Association. That group established a scenic trail stretching from North Dakota to Vermont.
When you walk through a farm field, for instance, you really can see the hard work that the farmer is putting into planting his crops and harvesting his crops. And when you walk through, some working forest land, you can see all the work that the foresters have done over the years.
Gagnon says public trails on private property accomplish two big things. First, they often conserve land. The Champlain Area Trails has protected about 1,000 acres so far. Second, they expand access in places where hiking trails can sometimes be hard to come by.
If we want to provide additional opportunities for people to hike or get outdoors in places like that, having private landowners step up and grant permission for people to hike out there or have a trail out there is really important.
About a mile into the new Champlain Area Trail, hikers get the first glimpse of Long Pond. Shalone Heald is here with a few of her girlfriends.
Gosh, it is beautiful. The shades of green, the water, the sun today shining on the water, the lily pads, and so many people are going to be able to enjoy it rather than a small group.
It's not big, deep wilderness, but this trail and so many others like it offer a place to walk in the woods, breathe fresh air, and just experience the outdoors. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio in the Champlain Valley.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Coming up in just a minute, reminiscing in St. Lawrence County with a Canton grad from 1973. That conversation in just a minute. Then stick around after the show for Bird Note, when we'll meet a bird of extravagant style from East Africa, the Eastern Paradise Whydah. More on that coming up at 8:42. But first, Todd has a look at the weather for us.
Clouds and showers, scattered thunderstorms, highs today in the 80s with light winds out of the south-southwest tonight. Maybe some areas of fog overnight, lows in the 60s, clearing skies. Still, maybe a scattered shower as well tonight. Then clearing skies overnight. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds. It's going to be hotter on Friday. Could see highs near 90 tomorrow. Winds out of the south-southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Maybe an occasional shower. Saturday, about a 60% chance of rain, highs in the 70s. And then Sunday, mostly sunny skies, highs low to mid-70s. Right now, we've got showers in the Canton area. Again, cloudy skies, scattered showers, an occasional thunderstorm, and highs today in the 80s.
Family reunions and school reunions are kind of funny things. They're maybe a little awkward, but also warm, too, and can transport you to a time that you haven't felt connected to in a long time. I bumped into a woman with glasses and a blue vest after the Friday farmers market here in Canton, and there was something in the way she walked that I noticed. Everyone had gone, and she was strolling through the village green, licking a chocolate ice cream cone from Morgan's across the street, and looking around kind of with her face turned up and smiling. And I just called to her and said, "You look like you're having just a lovely afternoon." And she said, "I'm just reminiscing." Her name is Nancy Cosio, and it turns out she was in town for her 50th high school graduation from Canton High School. She graduated in 1973. She lives in Bennington, Vermont now, and says she hasn't wanted to come back in any significant way since both of her parents died. You said that you've been sort of reminiscing. Like, what sort of things have you been thinking about?
Well, family, growing up here, walking around, seeing places I used to be all the time, getting ice cream. This place used to be called the Eskimo. Went by my house that I grew up in, went by my best friend's house that she grew up in. Went to visit Canton ATC the college here.
SUNY Canton?
SUNY Canton.
Yeah.
It used to be a 2-year school. 4-year school now. I didn't know that. So,
yes. How long has it been since you've
been here?
Been back?
I came back real briefly about 10 years ago, just for a very quick visit. And then I came 13 years ago for my mom's funeral. But no, not so much.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of time to look around or do any of this,
Yeah.
So I wanted to do this.
What is it sort of meaning to you to be back, do you think?
Grounding me back with family, with good friends. My DNA, my genetics, my soul. What it was growing up here and what I remember. And sadly miss. Yeah. But good things mostly. Yeah, happy tears.
Happy tears?
Happy tears, yeah.
What are you thinking right now?
My mom, my dad, my girlfriend who can't be here. But again, mostly just fondly, I just miss some of the folks that I won't see here, But it's all good. Yeah. Look at me.
Covered in...
See? See what you did? You made me cry.
Oh, no.
Dear. So, yeah, we're going to have fun tonight. We're going to see a lot of old friends and spend the weekend together. So I wanted to come a day early just to have quiet time by myself and reminisce on my own. So that's what I'm here for.
I know. What are you going to do together this weekend, do you think?
It's a cocktail party tonight, obviously. We're going to go visit the high school tomorrow. I'm going to try to play golf tomorrow afternoon with some people. And then dinner tomorrow night. And then I go home.
And we're here on the Village Green.
Mm-hmm.
And you're noticing something about the fountain.
Yes.
Can you tell me again the story that you told me off mic?
Well, we ran from a party one time.
How old were you?
17.
Oh, hell yeah.
17.
Yeah.
And needed a place to kind of hide. And we came down here to the fountain. We did jump into the fountain and laid low until whatever was pursuing us.
The cops.
Stopped pursuing us. Mostly it was my friend Kathy and I. Yeah. But, yeah. Not one of my proudest moments, but a moment. A moment of growing up. So, anyway, it's just fun to be here. Fun to be back.
Will Kathy be here this weekend?
She is going to be here. Yes, she is. I'm not going to say her last name. I'll keep her anonymous. But, yes, she'll be here. I can't wait to see her tonight.
Yeah. I have to reenact. How's it feeling being back? I know it can, when I go back to my hometown, it's like, there's a lot to feel. Yeah.
There is a lot to feel. And I was, to be perfectly honest, I was a little overwhelmed this morning just walking around. Again, not sad, but maybe a little, but I don't know, it just feels good to be home. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Yeah.
And is it sad for people you miss, or things that sometimes it's like things that could have been, or ways things could have gone?
I don't know. Could have been, because I don't really look back and say, wish I had or shoulda, coulda, woulda. But it's maybe just it's simple. It's simpler here. It was back then, and things are very different and very busy, and that's our whole world, right? That's our whole world has changed. Yeah. But this is just kind of nice to be back here, where it just was, you ride our bikes around here and run away from the cops and hide in the fountain. It was a good time.
That was Nancy Cossio of Bennington, Vermont, talking with me ahead of her 50th graduation celebration from Canton High School in 1973.
It's 8:24, and you're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. I want to mention a couple of events happening this weekend. Bring your spoons and stop by Point Park in Old Forge on Saturday from 11 to 4. It's the 14th annual Ice Cream Social and Pottery Sale. And this is really cool because you get to pick out your very own one-of-a-kind bowl created by local and regional potters to take home and, of course, enjoy ice cream to fill your bowl. Come to Point Park. It's right in the center of Old Forge, across from the Old Forge hardware store. There's a wide variety of bowls and ceramic pieces that are to choose from, lots of ice cream as well. That's the 14th annual Ice Cream Social and Pottery Sale at Point Park in Old Forge this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And earlier this week, we heard Betsy Capus's book review of Layla Phillips' Beaverland. And just a reminder that Layla Phillips will be at the Wild Center in Tupper Lake coming up on August 12th from 3 to 5 in the afternoon for a discussion of her book. She'll be talking about beavers here in the North Country, answering questions, and also a book signing. That's author Layla Phillips. Beaverland is the name of her latest book, and she's going to be at the Wild Center in Tupper Lake on August 12th from 3 to 5.
Also coming up this week in Vermont at the Vermont Granite Museum, they're doing a lecture series and a screening of 3 newly digitized historical films focused on Vermont's granite industry. You can find out more from vtgranitemuseum.org. Also, don't forget to head out to the Adirondack Lake Center for the Arts in Blue Mountain Lake. They've got an exhibit right now featuring the work of legendary artist John Wynne. From throughout his career, including time spent living and painting in Blue Mountain Lake, 26 works by Wynne that range from 1967 to the present day, all celebrating his history with the Arts Center. You can find out more from AdirondackArts.org. That exhibit is on display until September 3rd. Going out on a little bit of music now from the High and Mighty Brass Band. You definitely hear them on the Beat Authority with David Summerstein. And we're also listening to them now because this Brooklyn-based brass ensemble, which has performed plenty of times here in the North Country, they are back for Music on the Green at Riverside Park and Saranac Lake next Wednesday. The concert series runs Wednesdays throughout the summer from 7 to 9, so they go on at 7 next Wednesday. This is their song, Day by Day.
Like Puckett, but you got me way over budget on this everyday front shit. Where you think we is, Nantucket? Pump those brakes, yo, I ain't your hand puppet. This road ain't so smooth now, no, it's rugged. Don't wanna be leaving you, but I'm feeling too like Mello did the Nuggets. Said it's early in the game, first inning. Before we begin it on different teams, let's try to pick a winning formula. You got my head spinning, I told you, girl, slow down, please listen. We see a difference, so let's meet in the middle like Malcolm, Chewie and Solo and the Millennium Falcon. He can't fly this ship without him. I'm chilling with my baby, like High and Mighty's round 1. Before we hit round 2, let's follow some ground rules. Sound cool? Good habits and patterns like hounds do. And I love when I'm around you, but all this pressure, I'm feeling like the count's full and I'm out on the mound. Facing Root Babe, Toronto Blue Jays, only 2 days after Canada Booze Day. We don't always gotta play my way, but let's take it day by day. Yep. Day by Day by the High and Mighty Brass Band.
They're coming out to Saranac Lake next Wednesday for the Music on the Green Summer Concert Series at Riverside Park. Show starts at 7. That is it for Northern Light for the day. Join us this evening for the Arts Hour from the BBC World Service. They're talking with the director of the film Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, and with Greta Gerwig, director of the new Barbie movie. That and more is coming up this evening on the Arts Hour between 9 and 10. Don't forget to tune in here on North Country Public Radio. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe. Thanks for listening. Be well.